The bass vault. We're in the basement of the Royal Opera House in Stockholm, and Michael Karlsson, principal bass player, will show us around a little bit of their treasures, I would say, because there are some really nice stuff in there. So let's come with me. No.
Access denied.
What?
Do you really think it's so easy to enter this room?
Access approved.
Ja,
Så
här
det-
har vi vårt lilla...
This is the
in.
secret chamber.
Ja.
The vault, maybe.
This is an opera bass, Hawks. The middle quality. It's a really
the
nice
English
bass. Yeah,
Hawks,
English
yes.
Hawks.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's because... There we go.
It's a nice bass actually.
Yeah. Has a pretty recent setup
Yeah.
as well. I could
Because it
tell.
was set up as 5-string, and it didn't really enjoy the life as a 5-stringer.
So what your thought about 5 strings in relation to extensions?
Well, I don't play 5-string anymore. I played a lot earlier, but whatever bass you play that is 5-string, you can't. You always think it would sound really great 4-string, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's
Because it's
kind
like
of
a mute on the bridge.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
if you have a good extension and then you need to take care of it mechanically
Yeah, because
almost every night, right?
Most extensions are not very good, I think. Unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you have to try to cope with it. But sometimes you have to play 5-string because some music is not possible on extension. But more or less everything, I would say. Yeah.
And that has to do with the fingerings, of course.
Yeah, you have to practice it.
Yeah.
And there is a 5-string actually, and that has been in use now when we played Hillborg cello concerto as a ballet.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of low B there, for example. So.
Yeah.
But I like extensions where they drill a hole in the scroll. Actually,
Okay.
I know that is you can think about
Many discussions there. Yeah.
But what happens is when you tune, sometimes you have to tune down to low B, and if you have a string that goes circles around the scroll, it doesn't respond as quick. So that's why I prefer this
The drilled one.
the drilled
Yeah.
scroll, and it's possible to restore actually.
Of course.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
But not on the Mangini though. This is a Rudolf German bass. Also very nice bass. I have had it on tour in Japan, and
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many years ago, and we had a recording, and I just tuned down the 5th string, and it just opened up and was fantastic.
And it has a beautiful scroll.
They are quite common actually. You can see exactly that head on many German basses. Probably it was some kind of a pre-fabrication.
Prefab, yeah.
I would say.
And they
Yeah.
put it on. Yeah. Anonymous German?
No, I don't remember the first name, but the last name is Rudolf.
Rudolf.
Yeah.
Rudolf.
It's
okay.
actually a well-known builder for those who know builders.
Yeah.
That's nice. The next one is a Paul Claudot. Yeah. So this is the French corner we're reaching now. It's an unknown bass, maybe Italian, North Italian. Harry Jansen has been here and looked at all the basses, and he thought that maybe it's North Italian. This is a Pillement.
Oh.
It's actually quite old. You don't think that when you see it because it looks so, but it's. I don't dare to say exactly, but it's absolutely 1800.
Yeah.
Maybe 1850 or something.
And the headstock is interesting as well. Spend some extra work there.
And this is typical Pillement. So now this has a second layer of wood, but this is typical for Pillement.
Okay.
Can almost
It's a little personal sign of his.
Yeah.
Yes.
An original neck. You can see that it's a 3-string neck, very narrow but very sort of pointy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pointy and narrow, exactly. Wow. You have to spend some time to get used to it, of course. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Congratulations to whoever has this one.
I sold it actually. I owned it.
Oh, yes, it's one of yours. Okay.
Yeah. I've been. I have a book where I write a few words about every bass I've owned. Actually, where I got it and how and so. And I have had, I think it's almost 60 basses.
60?
Yeah.
60?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's a disease.
Yeah. Or a love.
Yeah.
Or a passion. Yes.
Could be. And this is our Jacquet that I was talking with you about earlier. And this is a hell of a bass. I have seen a lot of exactly this model, and they all sound different. It's very strange, but this one is really good, and I think someone has been on the table somewhere in the history, because here it's very thin, and normally they are quite thick actually.
Yeah.
In this room, nothing sounds, but I can promise you this is a very good bass. Katarina, who's playing this bass, is struggling with taking away the resin from the varnish. I don't know how she's doing, but
it looks a little beaten up, but that necessary.
It is beaten up, but it sounds.
Yeah, but it's still whole, right? It's repaired. Yeah.
It's quite fun because this bass and that bass, that is. The name will come in a moment, but also French bass. And a third French bass was bought by the opera the year 1900. And the chief of the opera and the concertmaster went to Paris to buy instruments. They bought Bernadelle violins and bows and Sartori bows and these 3 basses and so. And they spent around couple of years' salaries for a normal musician. That's not so much when you think about what these instruments are worth today.
Of course not.
Yeah.
No.
But the what they spent on the instrument was not so much compared to what they spent on hotels and
drinks,
Moulin Rouge, and wine.
Okay, of course.
Yeah. When they come back, this opera house was quite new built, because they built this house on the same ground as the old opera house, and they noticed that the doors into the pit was too narrow, so they had to carry these basses from the audience down in the pit.
Oh, really?
So a few years later they just rebuilt that, but so now we can walk in normally, half normally. Yeah. So that's this one.
I can see there is a common thing with the strings. Is that a common decision that you use the same kind of string for the sound or something like that?
No common decision. Everyone uses what he or she wants. But bel canto is very nice for classical music simply. And we get new strings once a year. And in my opinion, bel canto is very good the first 3 months or something.
Yes.
And then they just decline. So you have to change often. I guess that's a part of their business idea.
I can. Yeah.
But now we come to the interesting. Don't go away.
No.
So this is the third nice French bass. This is set up as a 5-string, and it was already from Paris where they bought it. But they changed the scroll and no, not the scroll, but the mechanic, the machines, and the neck and so. But it's a fabulous instrument. So just look at the wood on the sides, for example. Yeah. It's beautiful. Also the varnish.
Yeah. It looks very small and neat for being a 5-string.
This should sound fantastic as a 4-string.
Yeah.
But, well, it's a question of money also.
When we see the letters KT.
KT, Kungliga Teatern, Royal Theatre.
Royal Theatre.
Yeah.
And
So,
that was before.
yeah, you know, we were the Royal Theatre until 1990 something. And because it was the Royal Theatre and the Royal Dramatic Theatre.
Oh yes.
But people didn't understand the difference. So they were fed up in the ticket office.
Administration was crazy.
They want no, we don't play Shakespeare.
So is it okay if I bring this one home?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But maybe not today.
No. Fantastic.
That's a fabulous instrument.
It has such a beautiful table.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the wood is spectacular.
Yeah. Ooh. Really.
And it has the. I
And
guess
did you say who the maker was?
No, I didn't. I avoided that because I couldn't remember.
No, okay.
We thought for a long time that this was a Barbier. But suddenly someone with good eyes discovered, can someone see that? Paquotte, yes.
Paquotte.
Someone saw a P and a Q. So I went through all the Mercourt or French makers. There is only one that I could find that had a P and a Q. So that's Paquotte. And I mentioned that to, who it was Sebastian Skarp or whatever. And he confirmed that. So, and this is
guy,
one
I played with him in Folkoperan many years ago. Yeah.
You can, even in here, you can hear. But we don't know what it is, and on every appraisal, they value this bass very low. But on the market, it would sell really expensive, I can tell. Because,
really?
Yeah. It has been here for ages. Personally, I think this is a Czech bass, and I think it came with a Czech principal who was here in the end of 1800.
Ah, okay.
That's my wild guess. This is a fabulous instrument. This is Sebastian Dallinger in Vienna, 1800, what does it say?
1806.
Yeah.
Sebastian.
And this is in absolute original shape. You can even see the fifth hole here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tommy Jakobsson made an extension and sort of integrated this lion's head. And wormholes and original tailpiece.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very flat and yes.
Gorgeous instrument. And this was, we had a bass player here, Alf Pettersen, whose mother was from Austria. So he had a lot of connections there. He studied in Vienna and also played in the orchestras. And he learned that there was a widow to a bass player who had a couple of nice instruments. So he went there, and after some persuading, he got to buy this one. But if you buy it, you're not allowed to take it from Austria. No, Alf said no and went immediately to Sweden with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So he had it for many years, and then he got cancer and died too early before retirement. Very sad. Yeah, very sad. So that was now the second widow stands with this bass, and then she sells it to another colleague, Ben Svensson, and he dies also very young. He was 63 or something.
There's something with the bass.
So there we have the third widow selling the bass.
Wow.
But then we bought it. There were some competition between us and the Vienna Philharmonic, and we finally got it.
Yes.
But it's really thrilling to think that it's built in Vienna 1806. And so where was it played in Vienna 1806? On what sort of concerts? I mean, there was a guy there, Ludwig van Beethoven, who wrote some music. Maybe this has been on the first performances on many of his symphonies. Not
if bassists could
talk,
speak, yes.
So that's...
Oh, wow.
And this is, I don't know if you know the name Johan Öhberg, Swedish instrument maker, famous for his cellos in the 1700, end of 1700.
No, to be honest, I'm not aware.
But he also built 2 basses, and this was built on commission to the new opera house when Gustav III was king.
Okay.
So and you can see that it looks very much like a cello.
It certainly does, yes.
And
the C-bow.
Yeah. The sides were so narrow, so either he had to extend it, or he didn't have broader pieces of wood. I don't know, but it's sort of extended later.
Yes.
Yeah, with the 2 centimeters, maybe
all the way around.
Yeah, all the way.
Yes.
So, and you have here also the king's
Emblem.
Yeah. Quite nice.
Really.
So who knows? Maybe this bass was playing when he was shot in the opera.
Yeah.
Who knows? No, but it's and Emily Hanneman, who plays this bass, she's really in love with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She told me yesterday that I have never felt so for a bass before, but I can't part from it.
That's a wonderful feeling, of course.
So it's also a little bit interesting that we knew from the Öhberg's archives that he built 2 basses, but no one knew where the other bass was until 5 or 10 years ago, when we hired an American violinist, and he had a it's so stupid, but he had a brother-in-law who was renovating a kitchen for a customer.
Oh, come on.
And he saw a bass in the corner. Oh, yeah, my relative, he plays violin in Sweden. Oh, really? I think this is a Swedish bass. Oh, yeah. Take a picture. It was a sister to that. Yes, it was twin sister. It was exactly the same.
Wow. Wonderful.
If you wait long enough.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, this was her. It's private basses. This is actually English hill bass, but it's private. I don't dare to use it.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, and also this is also
there's an English hill,
Italian.
and you can see it.
Italian bass belongs to Charlie de Ramus, who is my colleague principal.
American bass player, right?
Yeah.
He was in Norrköping before.
Gothenburg.
Gothenburg. Okay. Yeah.
For many years.
Oh yeah.
One of the few Americans that speak perfect Swedish.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
He's probably also a good musician because it is connected.
Yeah. So this is the Magini we have seen, and maybe this could be a little bit interesting also. This is my 2 private basses, more for chamber music. This is nice. This is a Swiss bass.
Oh, I've never heard the word Swiss bass
but it
before.
Is,
Yeah. Okay.
So, and you can really see that it has sort of it has a little bit French, it has a little bit Italian, a little bit German in it. So it's a nice bass.
So what would you say would be the French part of this instrument?
Well, I would say first of all the varnish.
Yeah.
And also a little bit the outlines. This is for me a little bit Italian.
Yes.
And the outline is a little bit German, in old German school, and also this of course. So it's a nice bass. This is the bass I normally play when I don't play the Magini. And this is familiar for many viewers, I guess, because this is an English James Cole. It's a huge instrument. It's too big for me, actually, but I don't mind. It has a spectacular backside. This is a 1880 round. James Cole didn't put any labels after a certain year because he was copied so many times. So instead there are this
Branding.
brand
Yeah.
mark. Yeah. So, but this is a really, really nice machine.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was very worried when I bought this 20 years ago about this sinkage actually, but
It has stayed there.
yeah, it doesn't move, and also this line is not affected. It's only this part that is sort of
Okay.
leaned down, so it doesn't worry me anymore. Actually, I have noticed that basses with a little sinkage on this side sound good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's about it.
Yeah. So, Mikael, thank you very much for letting us down here in the opera house, in the secret bass cave.
Bass treasure hall.
The
Room.
the vault or the treasure room or whatever. We can keep on forever, but for now we will say thank you and bye. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And this guy, Michael Karlsson, he's easy to like, so give him a thumbs up for this episode. Thank you.
Thank you.